Hey there, it's therapy and relaxation. Today we're talking about mindfulness for relationship conflict. Let's go. Picture this. It's late in the evening, and after a long day, you're sitting with your partner, and a seemingly small disagreement suddenly erupts into something much bigger. Maybe it begins over dirty dishes left piled in the sink, or a forgotten errand, or a misunderstood comment. Voices may rise, frustration bubbles over, and before you know it, both of you feel misunderstood, hurt, and alone. Even though you're right there together. We've all been there. Conflict with loved ones is one of the most stressful and emotionally charged experiences we encounter. The very people we turn to for comfort can sometimes leave us feeling vulnerable and upset. But what if there was a way to break this cycle? What if there was a practical skill that could bring ease and understanding into these moments of tension? That skill, simply put, is mindfulness. Mindfulness is about bringing your attention fully into the present moment with a sense of openness and acceptance. When practiced in our closest relationships, it can transform conflict from a source of pain into an opportunity for greater understanding and growth. But how does this actually work when emotions are running high and tempers flare? First, let's take a closer look at our emotional responses during conflict. When we perceive a threat, even one as subtle as criticism or feeling ignored, our nervous system often leaps into action with what's known as the fight-flight-freeze response. This ancient survival mechanism was useful when our ancestors faced actual danger. In today's arguments, though, it can make communication more difficult. Our heart rate speeds up, our muscles tense, and our rational minds take a back seat to raw emotion. You might notice yourself interrupting, raising your voice, withdrawing, or even shutting down completely. Suddenly, you're not really hearing what your partner is saying, and they're probably having the same experience. This is where mindfulness becomes a powerful ally. By pausing, taking a breath, and turning inward, you can begin to quiet the storm inside. Let's try a simple mindfulness exercise together. Wherever you are, take a slow, deliberate breath in through your nose. Hold it for a moment, then let it out gently through your mouth. Notice the rising and falling of your chest, or the sensation of air passing through your nostrils. As you breathe, direct your attention to any tension in your body. Maybe your jaw is clenched, or your hands are balled into fists. See if you can soften those areas, even just a little. Allow yourself to acknowledge whatever emotions you're feeling, anger, sadness, fear, or something else, without judgment. Simply noticing, naming, and allowing your feelings can begin to soothe your nervous system, bringing you back into a space where real communication is possible. Self-awareness is the cornerstone of this practice. By tuning into your own internal state, you can start to recognize the triggers, those specific words, gestures, or situations that spark emotional outbursts. Notice if you have well-worn patterns, perhaps replaying the same argument over and over. When you're aware of these patterns, you're empowered to respond consciously instead of reacting automatically. But mindfulness isn't just about turning inward, it's also about turning outward, toward your partner with empathy and openness. In the heat of an argument, it's easy to get trapped in your own story, convinced of your rightness. Mindfulness invites us to pause and consider, what might my partner be feeling right now? What need is driving their words and actions? This is the heart of empathy, the ability to step outside ourselves, if only for a moment, and see things from another's perspective. One of the most effective ways to practice empathy in conflict is through active listening. Active listening is different from simply waiting your turn to speak. It involves fully focusing on the other person, suspending judgment, and truly trying to understand their feelings and needs. Try summarizing what your partner has just said, using your own words. You might say, "It sounds like you felt hurt when I forgot to call you back," or, "I hear that you're feeling overwhelmed and need some help around the house." This simple act of reflecting back what you've heard can have a profound impact. It shows your partner that you are present and connected, and often that sense of being understood is enough to de-escalate even the most heated exchanges. Practicing active listening might feel awkward at first, but with time it becomes a natural way of relating. Focus on maintaining eye contact, putting away distractions and nodding or using gentle words to encourage your partner to keep sharing. If you're unclear about something, ask gentle, clarifying questions like, "Can you tell me more about what you mean by that?" "Oshis," or "What would help you feel better right now?" With mindfulness and empathy as your foundation, the way you communicate in conflict naturally begins to shift. Instead of lashing out or blaming, mindfulness fosters compassion for both yourself and your loved one. When you communicate, try using I statements. "I feel upset when," or "I need some reassurance because." This way, you are owning your feelings without casting blame or making your partner feel defensive. Avoid words like always or never, which can trigger shame or resentment. Remember, the goal isn't to win the argument, but to understand each other and find a way forward together. Staying respectful and calm during conflict is not always easy, especially if you feel under attack. Notice when your voice starts to rise, or when sarcasm or criticism creeps in. Use that as a signal to pause and return to your breath. It's okay to ask for a short break if you need to regroup. You might say, "I want to keep talking about this, but I need a few minutes to calm down so I can communicate better." Mindfulness teaches us that we don't have to react immediately. We can respond with intention and care. Cultivating mindfulness is a practice, not a one-time fix. You can build the skills you need for mindful relationships by weaving mindfulness into your everyday life. Take a few minutes each day for a mindful walk, noticing the sights, sounds, and sensations around you. Try a brief meditation, focusing on your breath or repeating a calming word or phrase. When you communicate, make a habit of pausing before you react, taking a breath and checking in with your body and emotions first. You might find it helpful to keep a journal, noting the conflicts that arise and reflecting on the thoughts and feelings involved. Are there patterns you notice? What seems to trigger your emotional responses? Over time, this kind of reflection deepens your self-awareness and helps you interrupt reactive cycles. Bring mindfulness into small interactions throughout the day. Whether you're making dinner together, discussing a stressful issue, or just sharing a cup of tea. Practice being fully present, setting aside distractions, and really showing up for your partner, even in silence. When disagreements arise, remind yourself, "My partner is not my enemy." We may be struggling, but ultimately, we're on the same side. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes to respond rather than react, to listen rather than defend. Mindfulness does not remove all conflict, nor does it mean suppressing your feelings. Instead, it's about creating space for honest expression and mutual understanding. It allows you to move through disagreements with kindness, recognizing the shared humanity that underlies all relationships. So, consider making mindfulness part of your daily routine, starting today. Try mindful breathing before or during a tough conversation. Practice active listening with your partner, friend, or family member. Notice your own reactions and bring curiosity instead of judgment. Over time, you'll discover that conflicts are not just obstacles, but opportunities, chances to grow, to strengthen trust, and to deepen the bonds that matter most. When you approach relationship conflict with mindfulness, you bring awareness, empathy, and compassion into every interaction. You become a source of calm in the storm, and your relationships, with loved ones and with yourself, grow stronger, more resilient, and more fulfilling in the process. Thanks for sticking around. Don't forget to subscribe us and check out therapyandrelaxation.com for more. See you tomorrow.